Hello YouTube, I'm back again with another video. This time I'm going to be doing a Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile. I'm going to get straight to the point. I will briefly explain the card choices. Obviously, this deck profile is supposed to be like post-dueling heroes. I want to be able to do the deck profile before an upcoming ban list shows up. So before that happens, let me continue forward and proceed with what I'm about to provide you. Playing the one Archosaur, so basically you'll use the Misc to summon it, and then if you have any potential dinosaur monsters, you pop it to search for a pill. But the only reason we're playing one because you end up bricking by playing multiple copies. In reality, you have so many ways of getting this card out from your deck to the field, so it's a lot safer just to play one because you need more optimal cards that can actually help you extend even further. So obviously, we're playing the one Arch Nemesis Shadows. If there was a Protoss, I would definitely include him as well, but he essentially is a beat stick compared to Protoss because you banish 3 monsters with different types from your graveyard and are face up on the field. I normally don't banish the monsters face up on the field because I feel like it's best to have them in your graveyard because you need those monsters on the field like to go into your link combos, whatever monster you need to summon afterwards. Like all the other Arch Nemesis monsters, they can't be destroyed by card effects, and you can declare one monster type on the field, destroy all monsters on the field with that type, and neither player can summon monsters of the destroyed type until your opponent's end phase. So very handy. Just the one baby source. Like I said, you don't want to play too many bricks because you'll end up often bricking if you play more than one baby source, simply because if you don't have any cards that pop from the hand or field, then you're playing multiple bricks essentially. So the one Bystial Baldrake, now that Magnum is a 1, but it's so that you have more Bystial monsters you can summon to your field. So sometimes you gotta play a lot more one-ofs now. But you're usually not going to use its other effect, where if your opponent were to special summon a Ritual Fusion, Synchro Sea, and/or Link monster, you tribute one other lighter dark monster, then target one of those monsters, banish it. But it's just for another way to summon a monster out from your hand a lot more easier. So, but where the other Bystial monster that we most likely have to max out on is Dinosaur, simply because we are playing a link deck, so being able to get rid of a monster on the field that special summon really helps because we can even push forward for even stronger combos, even more powerful combos, and continue with our combos as well, especially cards that disrupt boards and break boards. So they what makes it even more handy because they all have the ability where they have quick effects, so that in a way makes them even more useful because not only are you getting rid of a monster during your turn, you're getting rid of a monster during your opponent's turn as well. But just the fact that we're playing more links really helps because in order for his effect to go off, he has to be sent from the field to the graveyard in order for his effect to resolve, and that way you get to pop off even more and then have more board breakers afterwards, but because of the monsters that we're summoning out. So one Magnum, unfortunately, if I would definitely replace the Baldrake and Saronir to have my third Magnum, but this is what I have to go with. But there's a reason why it's limited, obviously, because you add a dragon monster during the end phase from your deck or graveyard, and that includes Estrado, so it doesn't have to be a Bystial monster as well, but any dragon in general. But also normally you're gonna go into your Bystial, but sometimes Estrados if you want, especially if you want to like turn the game around. But this card is a great, again, is a +1 and just really outright the best monster in Bystial. So, and there's really even too much to explain because like without him, then the deck won't be able to get you the cards that you need a lot sooner. So it just helps you set up the monsters that you want and be able to disrupt your opponent's turn and then play your Bystials in the middle of their turn. So that's why the card itself is limited. The one Bystial Serenade because we have no choice because we need more names for Bystials. But just in case, if it's sent to the graveyard, regardless whether it's in the field or hand or deck, you can send one branded spell trap or Bystial monster from your deck to grave. Normally, what you're gonna do is, if you were to use this card's effect, you're usually gonna send either your Bystial Rebellion or Magnema, in case, depending on the field that you already have. Then yeah, that's when you have to kind of decide carefully which card you're gonna send from your deck to graveyard, depending what's on your field or what's in your hand, whatever Bystial monster you might not have. Whatever Bystial monster you might have, you're mostly gonna be forced to give to your Rebellion, but which really helps because you contribute one of them later on and be able to set up your regain. So, and for our danger lineup, 3 Bigfoot. This helps you get rid of floodgates as well as one of the strongest danger out there. Nessie, allowing us to search our danger with ease, but obviously they all have the effect of if you discard a random card, you discard it, special summon, draw 1 card. So this is always a +1 in my opinion. Best 3 of to always have because you're always getting consistency from this, even if you're gambling with its effect. The same goes with Jackalope and Tsuchinoko. So because they allow you, if they're discarded, you special summon 1 danger, whether it be Tsuchinoko from hand or danger from your deck to your field face up in defense. The 1 Pankratops, not only because he's an easy disruption, because we have cards that can search into it, as well as the Oviraptor, which you see in the main deck, and may not be better than Fenrir, although this card is a quick effect, and you can be able to chain with its effect, but just the easy one of that you can search it, and it's always useful, nonetheless. So 1 Giant Rex, because you'll be surprised sometimes I end up banishing with your Estrados, most likely your Conductor or any other card. But what happens, obviously, helps you extend with your link plays because the fact that if it's banished, you special summon, you don't care too much about the attack point boost, but it's there in case you want to set up more link plays. So a card that helps us set up with our link plays, obviously, is the 3 Fenrir. There's really not much to say. It's a +1, and it constantly allows you to get rid of floodgates by banishing 1 card face down whenever your opponent activates a monster effect. One of this card declares an attack. Again, I'm very surprised this card hasn't been hit yet. Probably should, may not, but there's no exception. You most likely have to play at least 2 or 3 because it allows you to get around floodgates, because those are cards that are actual problem, because the moment they play Floodgate that prevents you from doing anything, you're pretty much stuck there and you have no other outs besides your Bigfoot or the Fenrir. So they were playing the Semi-Lemon Unicorn. Some people might disagree, but I digress, because this card allows you to extend your link plays even further, and considering we're not even playing that many Xyz, this again is not a Xyz deck, but links are in general just very powerful. So not only that, it lets you to rip a card from your opponent's extra deck face down for free whenever, like the same thing whenever you attack or whenever your opponent activates a monster effect. Those have to resolve first. But yeah, just not only being able to rip your extra deck, but allow you to get out more monsters from your extra deck as well. So that's why I think it's at least very important to play this card, because of the type of structure that I'm playing in this main deck. So, and 1 Misc that I mentioned, because you're obviously going to search it. The 1 is enough in general, and most likely, obviously, because you just go with the Oviraptor, you're just summoning the 1 Archosaur. You're going into the Archosaur with using Misc effect to summon it, to go into your Conductor a lot more easier. Not much to say there, but just in general, just a very useful card. And to make Misc, and why also we're playing Misc, because obviously we're playing the Nemesis package, because I'm sure you guys are aware how they work. They if you guys aren't aware, if you've been under the roof, these cards allow you to basically recycle your banished monsters. So basically, you take a banished monster, target it, shuffle into your deck, and special them. That's how it works. But Corridor, which you see right now, allows you to target one of your banished Nemesis monsters, except itself. You add it to your hand. They all have the same thing where you allow the plus, but usually the one you want to max out is the flag, because during your main phase, you can add 1 Nemesis monster from your deck to your hand, except itself, add to your hand. That's why you play through, because you can see essentially you're playing max copies of all the other Nemesis cards. You're playing almost 3 or 4 everything. So there's no exception to play less than 3 because this card lets you see essentially all your Nemesis cards depending which ones that are available. So if you're playing a Nemesis package, you always want to play 3 of this, and you want to play the other Nemesis cards as 1-ofs because they pretty much do the same things. They can be really slow, but even if you manage to brick with 2 or 3, it always helps you extend for the next turn, and then just to set up in case you're at an overwhelming disadvantage. So even having more than having 2 or 3 is always good because even if you're at an overwhelming disadvantage, you can always summon the other one for next turn to get into a stronger Nemesis monster. So Umbrella, obviously pretty much the same thing, but instead you target Nemesis monster graveyard besides itself, add it to your from your grave to your hand. Main important card of the deck is 3 Oviraptor. Obviously you search for, you take a Dinosaur monster, any regardless of its level, just either send it to your graveyard from your deck or add to your hand. Obviously we could just, and then not that, in case I want to extend, I can always resummon the Pankratops, which is why we just play the one. It doesn't matter if there's not more than one Pankratops, but again allowing us to resummon the Conductor, which you'll see afterwards, and then be able to summon Pankratops when we need to be, depending on the board we have. So obviously we're just playing the one Bystial, but I feel like one is just enough because I feel if you see multiple copies of this card, then it doesn't help you get to the open with the combo that you want, because in order to summon this guy you gotta tribute a Bystial, but plus you already have Megamut to do that for you, but and he's not really a starter card in my opinion, because usually starter cards, they help you get into the boss monsters of deck, which he doesn't. So it's just that you just use the Bystial package to help you have more extenders, so that you can actually push your opponent even further by having access to archetypes, again because we're playing 5 archetypes, so we need a lot more monsters to take advantage of the situation. So that the more monsters we have, the more overwhelmed our opponent is, and then they have to deal with more threats. So it's going to be a lot more difficult. So as you see right now, we're playing 2 Ultimate Conductor, and I essentially think he's the best monster in this deck because he's the card that literally wins me games. Even though Kashtira is the one that's getting more recognition than him, but as you know why, because during the main phase, the quick effect, you can destroy 1 monster in your field, change all face-up monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position, and anytime this card attacks, it can attack all monsters. Anytime this card attacks, you can send the monster to the graveyard and then inflict 1,000 to your opponent. So this is the card, I'm not gonna lie, this literally wins me games. That's one most one by playing this card, because not only is he the best main deck monster, he's the card you want to see into because he adds disruption as well as OTK. So you add those two combined, the best monster in the deck, and that's enough said about this card. There's no ifs or buts. And the reason why we're playing 2, because in case you want to be able to summon it with Pill a lot more easier, or just having access to the one hand, even though it can be really bricky, you can always use it to discard it for other cards. But just seeing this card is always a good thing, because there's already enough said about this card, how good it is, and you can't argue this is the best. This isn't this is literally the best boss monster, no doubt. And besides all the monsters, now we're going to continue with those spells. 3 Allure, not much to say. You draw 2 because you're playing enough dark monsters, and then you banish one of the darks. But in case you don't, you force to send your entire hand to the graveyard, and what makes it useful because you can also you can use it combo off with your Nemesis and recycle your deck. So you're essentially constantly recycling your board every time you banish when you're playing Nemesis along with Allure Darkness. So that just lets you reuse your monsters. So which is why I can say not only you're playing 6 cards, but having that many cards just puts you at a huge advantage, to the point where it's the best way to beat this deck is not by milling, but you gotta try to find a way to break their board and get to their life points at 0 as quickly as possible. We're playing the 1 branded Regain because it's easily placed on the field face up by Lubellion. You really just need the one because it's a hard once per turn. But normally, why I use this card because it's a hard once per turn. If a light or dark is banished, that and a prime example would be Lure Darkness or your Bystials. If one of them, a light or dark, is banished, you target one of them, place them at the bottom deck, you draw one card. So with Allure Darkness, you're essentially drawing 3 cards instead of 2. So it's a +2 rather than a +1. And because this card's limited, just playing the 1 Chaos base, you want to see it helps just to see the 1 Lubellion, because even if you don't manage to see, if you already have a Lubellion in hand and you have this in hand, you can always discard it with a Nightmare. Reshuffle one of your lighter darks, they cannot be normal summoned set, and no, I mean put them in the bottom deck and you draw 1 card set. Not much to say about this card, just play 3 Dark Ruler because already the best board breaker, as well as just stopping Omni Negates and then being able to get around them is very important, especially throughout the majority of the format, because I feel like even though they take no battle damage, not only can they not respond to it, but you need a way to out that problem so that you can be able to continue your plays. Double Evolution Pill, which is the card they use to search with Archosaur, being able to go into your Conductor Tyranno, and that's why we're playing this build, because it requires a non-dinosaur as a banish material in order to summon your Conductor, including one other dinosaur monster. So just being able to play this makes the deck, you get to see this card at its full potential, because you're playing also not a lot of non-dinosaur monsters. So I feel like this deck lets you play this card at its full potential, and then you see how useful it is. If you're taking away the pure Dino build and you putting into this, then yeah, like there's a lot more to come for this to come with this card. That makes it very important and impactful. And obviously we're playing 3 Fossil, so essentially 3 Oviraptor, which you're obviously going to go into. You're playing going from 3 to 6 Oviraptor board. Sometimes you're going to search your whatever important like level 6 or lower dinosaur monster, that whether it may be miscellaneous, Babysaurus, Archosaur, Giant Rex, whatever. But you're usually gonna go for the Oviraptor or sometimes the miscellaneous if you already have Oviraptor in hand. But this kind of creates a lot of confusion for your opponent, because they still, the first thing they consume is you're gonna search the Oviraptor when you have if you already have the one hand. So basically the idea is you bait your opponent with the Fossil, and then if they decide to ash it, that's the best choice. And then once they ash off the Fossil is when you normally summon the Oviraptor, and then that's when you're able to go off with your Dino combo and be able to bypass the effects of Ash Blossom, because now you baited them and then they just felt like the hand trap they used was a waste, besides Drone Lockbird. 3 Kashtira Birth. This card can tend to be a brick, but I feel like you have to play 3 because this card can come in clutch, depending on the number of Kashtira monsters. We're playing 5, but because if you're in a losing situation, you always place this and you have no monsters, so summon the Kashtira Fender, get rid of the monster. And on top of that, not only that, like if they activate a spell while you control a Kashtira monster, you target 3 cards in the graveyard, banish them face down. I'm going to continue with the spells. 1 Monster Born, 2 Pod Desires, not really much to say here. Small World, since we're playing a variety of monsters, and which actually allows to get easy access to certain monsters because of the typing, as well as different like stats, and a lot of them do tend to have exactly just one of the same status. So which is why you play 3 Small World, and essentially allows you to play more copies of starters. You're playing more starters now with Small World in the main deck. So 3 Triple Tactics Talents to get around your opponent's Omni boards, Omni Negates, and give you the option whether you want to draw to more consistency cards, gain control of 1 monster for more link combos, or just pitch one of their hand traps in the graveyard. Side deck's up to us. Personal preference going to go to the extra deck. Wallow. This could be replaced for SP Little Knight. Right now the card is really overpriced, but because we're playing Bystials, this card is a lot more accessible. Not only that, he powers up your monsters as well as it helps you extend into further combos. That's usually what you can use by detaching 2 since he's rank 6, so it requires at least the Bystial monsters, which are all essentially all of them are level 6 besides Lubellion. But just in case, you use this because you want to extend your board and you want to power up your monsters as well. One access code for because this card comes in clutch, and they can respond to this card's disruption when you blow up their board. Appaloosa to set up your first, when you go first turn, set up your negates to protect your field, as well as prevent their combos from going off on you. Be the Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, because you're playing a lot of level 7 higher monsters, which are the Kashtira, Danger, obviously cannot be targeted by card effects or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. When you use one of them as link material, obviously when this card destroys a monster battle, either gains 1500, you can attack during the next battle phase of your next turn, which giving a second attack during the next turn, or banish one card on the field, which you're usually most likely going to use. Borosaur for OTK, Dark, because a lot of times the opponent tends to have dark monsters. IP to go into use effects and link summon during our opponent's turn for more negates or more disruption. The Nightmare package, Cerberus, Phoenix, Unicorn, Crusading Avermax, not only to protect our board, but to get overpower like annoying beat sticks, Saryuja to draw into more cards, and to possibly, in case like in case you're wondering, in case like you search the Fenrir, in case you search a unicorn with Fenrir, you can match summon the unicorn to go into more combos, and then you use the unicorn to search the birth, and then resummon the Fenrir now from your graveyard or banish or whatever. Because it serves a purpose in deck, which is why just literally playing the one Saryuja gives the deck more options, as well as drawing more cards. And not only that, like there's no need to take it out in the extra deck, and it plays an important factor as well, as you'll see why afterwards. Security Dragon, very extremely, literally extremely generic, most generic Link 2 out there. But like you use it because you want to get rid of more boards. Just take a monster from the field, return to the hand. But if it's an extra deck monster, it doesn't return to the hand, which is very useful. And then you pretty much don't have to worry afterwards. Underworld Goddess, which you most likely use with IP, and then a lot of times you're going to go into Appaloosa with IP as well. But again, you want to link summon using your opponent's monster. But when this card is link summoned, you negate all the effects of monster your opponent currently controls the moment this card is link summoned, and it's unaffected by cards that don't target it. And anytime they special summon monster from the graveyard, once per turn you can negate the activation as well. And why we're playing strategy, because we're going into World Sea Dragons Atlantis. So this helps you dictate your link monsters and where you like which zone they point to with their link arrows. And a lot of times it helps you use the full potential of the nightmares, because they have to be co-linked in order to use their effects, in order a lot of times to protect your monsters. But what happens that if when you do co-link with this card is that a lot of times during the battle phase you can pop cards up to the number of monsters that are co-linked. But in order to do that, you gotta go into your main phase, bash all monsters on the field, then special summon as many as possible that were bashed by this effect to their owner's field face up or in face down defense position. So that's the main reason also we're playing Surge, because you literally use one link for, or you can use the Appaloosa, because it only requires one effect monster, because you already have the Appaloosa in case you already used up all of its counters. Saryuja, if you're already done with this combo, and then you want to proceed with even more collateral damage, this is the last thing you want to go into after using Saryuja and all of Appaloosa's counters. So that helps you get into even more potential plays, and just further extending to the point that your opponent doesn't have any more disruption. But again, I already said enough, because again, this is a 60 card deck. I had to explain a lot. It wasn't very easy, and just going through all that just a headache to me. But again, I'm trying to do the best I can to make you guys enjoy this video and provide you knowledge so that you take this into consideration, try to be innovative. That's what I'm trying to promote here, for you guys to be better duelists. But enough said. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Be sure to check for more upcoming content later in the future. Be sure to check your notifications. Comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.